wanted to get into more of was if you get a writer who excels. It happens a lot where we'll get somebody that has an entire manuscript, they just plop on you on day one, or they already have 20, 30,000 words, or they're just cranking out 5, 10,000 words every week consistently. So one thing you want to do is just kind of keep track of that. Just stay up to date. Don't fall behind. Spend your first 2 weeks just kind of speed reading their manuscript just to kind of get a general idea of what it's about. And then of course, focus on their traction plan and their big ideas document, these first documents here, just because that'll really kind of help you figure out what their book's about before you start diving into it. And after speed reading, you might find, okay, this writer needs some work in a particular area. Well, my suggestion is to put them to work while they're waiting for you to review, tens of thousands of words. You can send them copies of some of these documents that we have in the DE dashboard or in the documents library, which these you can find here under additional research resources and working with writers. So we're constantly adding to these. So if you don't see one in here, let us know and we'll add it. But basically everything is in here that they could possibly need. If the writer just needs help with editing and you want them to kind of give them some pointers beforehand before you start working at it, share this document called The Art of Self-Editing, which kind of gives them some tips and tricks on how to self-edit, things to look out for in their own work that they can clean up for you before you ever work on their stuff. So I highly recommend at least you reading The Art of Self-Editing and also sharing it with those writers who excel. We also have a document for those particular writers, but this is for the DEs. So this is kind of like a training guide on how to work with these writers who excel and different things you can do if you're finding, maybe you get through the entire first draft manuscript before green light date and you need more things to do. This gives you lots of ideas on other things you can work on. One of those is, improving the writer's quality, bringing that up to speed through editing. Through revising chapters. If you finish all your reviews, you can go through and revise more chapters or work on copy edits for more of those chapters. Here's that link to The Art of Self-Editing. You can also help them write their Amazon blurb, their back cover copy, blog posts, how to write those, and basically stuff that they're going to need going into the next stage of the process. But along with the self-editing, if you find your writer has an area where they need to focus, like prose or their tense or conflict or plot, we have documents for each of those. If your writer is doing more tell than show, this document will kind of show them things they can do to improve that before you ever get to it. So whatever they're lacking or just need to focus on, give them some homework early on while you're reading their stuff, just so they're not sitting around twiddling their thumbs. They can actually be figuring out how to go through their own work and improve on each of these different areas. And so one thing that's important to do with those writers who excel is eventually in the program, we'll switch from creating content or stories to creating chapters. And there's 2 tabs on the bottom here, creating content and creating chapters. And the second tab, for those writers who excel, move them to that as soon as you possibly can. Just get them focused on building their table of contents for the book. Help them bring everything from the content index, if they have it, into this area of the content index for creating chapters. As you can see, this one, there's a lot of different chapters here. This was one of those writers who excelled. She didn't come in with a full manuscript, but she was cranking out 15,000 words a week. And in like 2 weeks before green light, basically had 74,000 words. So what we were able to do is put each of these different stories or scenes that she wrote through revisions. So we were able to do that. And then she linked the revised versions here. And so, so for those writers who excel, jump them right over to writing chapters and using the second tab. You'll just find it a lot easier because this is basically how the book is going to be laid out eventually. And this is what needs to be cleaned up before they submit their manuscript for publication. So long story short, keep your invoice open, keep your DE dashboard open, and then just work right out of here with your students. and move them along from creating stories to creating chapters as soon as you can, because that'll just help everybody out. And then that's basically it. And if you have any other questions, I'm full of lots of information, some of it hopefully useful. So you can always reach out to me. If you need help finding any of these documents, let me know. If we're missing documents that we might possibly need or other templates, let us know. And we can work together to build this process even better. So that's all I have, and thank you.